What is going on, everybody? It is Frank the Tank, and welcome to Friday League week number 11. Uh, not a whole lot to update you on, except for if you watched week 10, you'll know that there was something quite crazy to behold. This bowler by the name of Donnie Monzo, if you guys remember him, he was the 198 average bowler who suddenly had one of the best nights ever. He bowled a 721 series. He got like 175, and then in game one, and then in game two, he got a 290 and followed that up with the 266 for a 721 series. So if any of you can remember, I did say that I would update you guys on what happened as a result of that, and I have the paper right here, so let me just actually find what happened here. First off, you know how at the bottom of these papers, I know you guys probably can't really see anything here, but you know how on the bottom of these papers they show the table, like who's in what first place, second place, all that, and then at the bottom, somewhere near the middle here, they give you the lane assignments, and then at the bottom they tell you who got the highest scratch game and scratch series of that past week. Well, there's no surprise here that Donnie got the highest scratch game of that week. Let's see, there were quite a bit of craziness going on here that I didn't know about. So Donnie got the highest scratch game, 290, and then some guy named Ryan Schnorf got 279, and my man Gary Gardner, I'm sure you guys know about him, I've told you about him a couple times already, he got 276, and he also bowled a 700 series that week. He actually bowled a 757 series, Gary Gardner, and then Donnie, of course, 721 series, but I didn't know that because I was so fixated on what was going on, the pair of which I was bowling. So, anyway, the update on Donnie is, let's see, I know his name is here somewhere. Here it is. Donnie Monzo went from a 198 average to officially becoming a 200 average as a result of that 721 series. So now you guys know he jumped up 2 points from that. That's pretty insane. And then Gary, as a result, went from like a 220 average up to a 222, I think, after that 757 series that he bowled. He bowled 276, 266, and 215. So that's really insane. So yeah, that's the update from that. And then I guess the other thing to let you guys know of is the team that we were supposed to bowl against didn't show up. So yeah, we were waiting for them and they didn't show. We thought maybe they were late, but no, we waited quite a bit of time for them, and we were asking around like, hey, do you guys know where these folks are? Are they coming? And no one had an answer for us, and we just came to the conclusion that we can't wait any longer, and we were going to start this thing up. And apparently there's this rule that you can start bowling, and if your opponents don't show up by the time you have bowled past the third frame, that's a forfeit on them. So yeah, this team did not show up, and they basically, that was like a forfeit for them, and this was basically going to be considered almost like a bye game or a bye week for us. For those of you who have never been in league or are new to it and don't know what a bye is, that's basically when you don't bowl against another team. It's just you and your teammates, and you guys try to bowl within, you guys basically try to beat your averages, or you try to bowl within 40 of your total team average. I don't know how that works, but the main thing is on a bye week you don't bowl against anybody. So there is like a 95% chance that you'll be the first team done out of everybody there. So yeah, that's basically all there is to say on that. So yeah, we were basically, it was just me and my teammates, no opponents to bowl against. So now that you know that, I guess now would be the time to show you what I have packed for this week of League. So here it is as I start here on the right lane with IQ Tour Nano Pearl. Went light and I struck, but yeah, I started off with the IQ Tour Nano Pearl because that was the only ball that I felt I could do some damage with. As I don't know if any of you saw my Instagram post, I was planning on bringing the Uproar to League after I saw Anthony Simonson using his at the USBC Masters, and he won against Norm Duke. He was using an idle and an uproar, so it was cool to see him bring out the uproar. A lot of people brought up that wow, he brought the uproar out. That is such an old ball. It was such an amazing ball. It is an amazing ball. Belbo dominated in 2014 with that thing. He used it to win the Masters himself, and he also used it to win the Tournament of Champions as well. So I thought I'd bring mine to League to see if I could do anything with it, and I didn't really get the chance to test it out all that much during practice because I felt like I needed to get lined up with the IQ Tornado Pro and that other ball that you guys see there, the Axiom. So, yeah, I thought I'd give the Axiom another chance after I did bring it a couple weeks ago, but I couldn't get anything good with it, so I put it back in the bag. But I decided to give it another chance for this week of League. So that's what I packed, and after the 10 minutes of practice, I came to the conclusion that the IQ Tornado Pro was the best option to start off with. So here we go on the left lane now with the IQ Tornado Pearl. And I left the 10 pin. That was a little left of target there, so that's kind of understandable. And you can see the ball deflect as it hit the pocket, so it wasn't really a whole lot. And you could see that I kind of eased in on that shot. Like, I didn't really put a whole lot of juice on that one, so it kind of makes sense that I left that 10 pin. Alright, well, I'm no expert here, but I'm pretty certain that Black Belmo spare ball that you guys just saw me use to cover the 10 pin, it feels a little lighter than the other 15-pound spare balls that I have. So I think I can conclude that spare ball in particular, I have 3 of the Black Belmo spare balls, the OG ones. There I go with IQ Tornado Pearl. Good strike, I guess. I saw that 10 there, but yeah, I think I can conclude out of all the 3 Belmo spare balls that I have that are the OG black ones, that one that I had right there, which also happens to be the very first one that I acquired, I think I can conclude that that one is 14 pounds because it felt super light. I felt like I could toss it real easy. I felt like I could lay it down and it won't, like, you know, crash onto the lanes. I felt like I could, you know, easily, like, just deliver it smooth on the lanes. It felt so light in my hands. I swear to God, that ball, I think it's a 14-pounder. Alright, back on the left lane with the IQ Tornado Pearl. I swear, I'm looking slow, like I'm not putting any power behind that, but hey, it was working. Alright, back on the right lane again. That one looked a little better. And it definitely hit a lot better, too. Back on the left lane we go. Looked like I eased into that one again. That one seemed just a pinch left of my target. And that looks very identical to that last shot in the second frame where I had to cover, where I left the 10. It looked like the exact same shot. So that kind of makes sense why that same thing happened again. Alright, so remember what I said about how I feel like this OG Black Belmo spare ball feels so light in my hands and how I have control over it? Look at that. So easy. I mean, I know I threw it slow, but, like, you know, I could easily, like, launch it down there very quickly. It just felt so light in my hands. I mean, that was such a smooth delivery. Usually I like, deliver the ball with, like, and you can hear kind of like a slight, you know, onto the lane, you know, like, I don't have a smooth delivery, but with this thing, nice and smooth. With ease. I swear. Like, I felt like I had control. That thing is so light in my hands. You know, after this night of League, I had that thought in my mind, like, what if I switched to 14-pound spare balls? Because I felt like I had pretty good control. Like, I really could lay that ball down where I wanted it to a lot easier. Now, I know that's not probably to a lot of you, that's probably something that you wouldn't recommend because it's obvious, you know, when you have one weight of bowling balls, you should stick to that weight for everything. Because, you know, like, say if I had, I remember I did this when I started out bowling too. I had a different weight of bowling ball. Like, I had like a 12-pounder, a 13-pounder, a 15-pounder, and someone told me to stick to one weight for everything because that eliminates variables for consistency, and they totally had a good point. But, you know, that 1 pound, it does make a difference from 14 to 15, but for some reason it doesn't make too much of a difference where it, like, screws up my ability to be able to control where I want that ball to, where I want it to go. Like, see that? Like, it really feels easy to pick up my spares now. If you, you know, I don't know, it's so weird. So yeah, everybody out there, I want you to actually try that as an experiment and tell me what you think about this. Go out to your lanes. If you throw 15 pounds or 16 pounds, move down that 1 pound for your spares. Like if you throw 15 pounds, pick up a 14-pound spare ball and pick up your spares with that. Tell me, is it easier or do you feel it's difficult because it feels too light in your hands? Let me know. In the meantime, there goes the IQ Tornado Pro on the left lane. And I struck. Very good. Unfortunately, my teammate got in the way at the wrong time. Alright, back on the right lane. 9th frame, I believe. Light hit. Very light hit. So, throughout this match, I was kind of moving like half boards a lot because, you know, I was looking at all those hits, like, you know, like the 2 10 pins that I left on the left lane, that light hit, you know, I was honestly kind of at a loss. Alright, so as we get to the 10th frame here we go on the left lane. I think I was standing on 20 on this one. Unfortunately, I didn't get the ball out to the right enough. It looked a little more direct if you look at that. I didn't send it at an angle. I sent it like if it were going down and in or something. And so it kind of makes sense that I left that 3-6-10 there. So any of you out there that are good at like noticing things in like the approach or whatever, notice how I handle this 14-pounder. I mean, it looks like it looks like I'm doing it with ease. I'm telling you, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna like go for like 14-pound spare balls because to me it just seems easier. So here we go to close out the 10th frame. This time I got the ball practically in the same spot. I feel like that was just a pinch more left than the previous shot, but somehow it held and I managed to strike. But I tell you, one thing about me in this was that I was not putting, I just noticed that, I was not putting enough juice on these shots. It looked like I was really just easing into it with no power. Okay guys, so here we go, about to begin game 2, and after what happened with the IQ Tornado Pro in that first game, of like me being unsure and not knowing what to do with the ball, seeing things that like I felt like just weren't right for me mentally, I decided, you know what, let's pick up this uproar and see what happens. And this is exactly what happened. The ball looked good, but it didn't hook at all, and I knew immediately what happened there. So the problem here is that that ball has the pin above the bridge and the mass bias and CG over to the right. That's a very popular layout that Belmo likes to use, and the problem for me is that that layout doesn't really work because of the way that I let the ball go. I really get up to the side of the ball, which is very incorrect, and take a look at that. I managed to get the pin to go hit from the back, and, well actually no, let's actually take a look at that. That's crazy. It bounced out of the back, but the top part of it managed to knock out the 10. So look at that. I think that was the head pin. Yeah, the way, actually I think I can slow this down. Let's see it. This is pretty ridiculous. So I did cut into it, but not enough to where it can knock out the 10. That was going into the corner, into the back. Look at that. There. And then the top part of it is what managed to come back perfectly to knock out the 10. Look at that. See that? And then I got the 10. I thought I'd missed it. I thought that was an open. And then I'm like, oh, okay. That was ridiculous. But anyway, going back to the thing with the uproar, yeah, I was feeling a little skeptical whether I was wondering to myself, do I want to continue trying to use this ball? Do I really want to sacrifice frames trying to do this right now? I wasn't sure. I mean, after what happened there on the left lane, I'm thinking, I don't know, you know, like I knew what to do to get it to not flare over the middle finger hole. There's this thing that I do with my hand and then what I do with the swing, but it just wasn't working. Look at that. I did it again. It looked good, but the ball didn't really come back the way it should have. So at this point, I'm thinking to myself, okay, you know what? I'm going to go back on the left lane when it's my turn, and I'm going to actually tuck the elbow a little more to get my hand more behind the ball, and that will probably prevent me from getting too much to the side of the ball, and hopefully that'll work. But You know, I was feeling, I was having doubts whether I was going to, like, I didn't think that, like, I was telling myself, I don't think I'm going to continue with this ball. And I don't know if I want to continue with the IQ Tornado Pearl because of what it was doing in the first match, leaving me the 10 pins. Mentally, I just wasn't in a good place with that ball. I mean, the only option I had left was the Axiom, and the problem with the Axiom was that was the ball I tried test. I picked up for the 10 minutes of practice because I wanted to see what it would do, and it wasn't really giving me a good kind of look. So that's why I just settled on the IQ Tornado Pro for that first match. All right, here we go back on the left lane. I'm about to give that uproar another shot. This time I'm going to tuck the elbow more like I said. See that? There it is. There's the tucking of the elbow, getting more behind the ball. There it is. You see what I mean? So let's get another look at that again, actually. This is what I should have been doing. So I think I'm going to have to get, one of these days when I have a chance to practice, I'm going to have to learn to get, because I've been actually getting in, very slowly, I've been getting back into this really bad habit where I'm not tucking the elbow like I should. See that? That's how it should be done. This enables me to have my hand more on the inside part of the ball, which prevents me from, or not prevent, I don't think that's the right word. It keeps me from having to release the ball too much up to the side of it. It keeps me behind it, and you get a great result. So I definitely am going to have to, when I get back to practicing, I'm definitely going to have to learn to get back into the habit of tucking the elbow again. In fact, if you guys actually go back and look at my, let's see, I think it's the Rubicon UC3 and Idol Helios, and pretty much any review after that, you will see I do not tuck the elbow whatsoever, and my hand is so on the outside part of the ball. It's not even on the inside. It's terrible to look at. It really makes me mad at myself when I see that. Like, Frank, tuck the stinking elbow. Get that hand on the inside part of the ball. What is wrong with you? I don't really know why I suddenly developed that habit of not tucking the elbow and keeping my hand on the outside part of the ball. I don't know why that happened, and I really hate that I developed that habit, because now I'm going to have to get back into the habit of tucking the elbow and trying to get my hand on the inside part of the ball, and that's going to be tricky, because when you're trying to learn something new, when you get used to something and you're trying to get out of that habit, that's difficult. So I'm going to have to relearn this now. But here I go, leaving the 3, 6, 9, 10. Picking up the IQ Tornado Pro since it's the least aggressive thing. And I got a lucky hit. I think the 6 racked around the 10, but luckily it knocked it on its way down. Okay, 5th frame, and it was at this point where I decided, no, I can't do this with the uproar. Let's just pick up the Axiom and do our best. And look at that. Yeah, that reaction is correct. I mean, that pin flew across with so much momentum, and it could not take out that 9 pin. I gotta say, it feels good not to have to put so much torque on the when I'm picking up these spares because of how light the ball is. So and I'm actually really glad. I don't know how many times I've said this already on this video. I'm really glad that it's actually, I don't like mess up picking up these spares. Like I don't lose my control because of how light the ball is. I know, like I remember, just as an experiment to see how difficult it was, I threw my 15-pounder as usual, and then I picked up a 12-pound house ball, and it was really difficult to be able to control what I wanted to do because the ball was way too light. Yeah, but surprisingly for me, moving from my 15-pound strike ball down to a 14-pound spare ball didn't mess me up whatsoever. All right, back on the right lane after that 9 spare on the left. Axiom on the right now, and it was looking good. That's when I thought, okay, I don't really know what I'm looking at. I still don't see the picture, but I've just got to try my best to, I know where my target is. I'm just going to have to try my best with this ball to get that ball on the target. And I mean, I didn't understand what I was looking at. I haven't practiced enough with this Axiom, to be totally honest. All right, on the left lane again, hoping that I don't see another 9 pin. And there it is. I moved a half board for that one. I think I was on 23. I decided to go to 23 and a half. And it was looking like it was, you know, it looked like I had a pretty solid plan. Okay, and back on this right lane here. I think I stood on 23 for this one, so nothing had really changed on this right lane to a point where I really needed to move, but I fell off on that one. Luckily, I had a bit of miss room because I know I got that ball to the right a little too early, and luckily it struck. But then again, that's that house shot doing the work right there. All right, 9th frame, left lane. No juice whatsoever, and we leave a Greek church as a result. That one was definitely a lot slower than my previous shot. Right, so there I go. Going for the count instead of going for the 2, which is something that I would usually do, but I would only do that in practice. But because this is a league and it's kind of important, the situation called for going for the count. And for any of you out there who are still in the learning stages, yes, always go for the higher count, because it could make the difference at the end of the game. You have no idea. Play it safe. Don't be an idiot. Go for the count. All right, guys, here we go. 10th frame. Not bad. Man, that axiom, I almost forgot how very rolly it is. It's super rolly and early. Alright, so one thing I forgot to mention here was because of that, I think it was the open in the 9th, I knew now that I needed to strike out to at least go over 200, because to at least save this and get a decent 200 game. But it was at this point, I think, where I was starting to become very unhappy, because it felt like I mentally, I was just, you know, piss poor, and you know, I felt like I was just bowling bad. Alright, last shot in the 10th. Can I strike out? A little to the right too early, but again, I got that miss room, that axiom being super rolly, giving me some miss room there. And a strikeout for 207. I managed to salvage that. Knew that I needed it, because if I didn't get it, that would be a game under 200. And usually that's one of my objectives in League, is always try to finish your games over 200, even if it's a low 200 game. Alright guys, final game of the night. Game 3. Continuing with the axiom. Kind of a bit lame on the form. Entered the pocket high, left the 4, and I made the decision that I was just going to use the axiom for the rest of the night, because I didn't have it in me to pick up that IQ Tornado Pearl. I just felt like I was going to struggle to figure out where to stand, and that I wasn't going to get a good look with it. And then, of course, you guys already know the little problem with the uproar, the layout that I had on it. Will have it, and because of how I let it go, it'll be flaring over the middle finger hole and it won't hook. I don't want to have to deal with that, so I made the decision that I'm just going to finish things off with the axiom. Alright, axiom on the left lane. And here's another example of how I got that miss room. Look at that. To the right too early, it held, and it came right back. I tell you, that house shot, and I do want to say that was more the house shot helping me there. It wasn't necessarily the ball, but man, the amount of miss room that I had there was unbelievable. That should have overhooked and gone like either through the nose or Brooklyn or something. Alright, here we go again. My form is just horrible. I mean, I've probably, throughout this entire night, I've probably only had like a couple of shots where my form actually looks good, but man, my form is looking really ugly tonight. Although the form is bad, that's not what matters. What matters is the shot itself. Is it good? Is it bad? We got to try to execute. See that? I immediately stood up on it because I thought it was bad, and indeed it was. Another, what looked like kind of like a high pocket hit. It didn't really seem like it, but it had to have been if I'm leaving the 4. But here we go again, picking up another one. I gotta tell you, that almost fair ball trap boom down the lane, it just looks so amazing. Alright, on the right lane. Can't even remember what frame this is. To the right too early again. Entered the pocket high again, but this time left what looked like the 9. Doesn't really seem like it, but it is. Oh, and take a look at this right here. I walked away because I thought I'd missed, but I skinnied it. The guy in the lane next to me, he was like, "Oh, dude, you just got it," and I'm like, "Oh, I did? Oh, okay." I thought I'd missed it because when I turned around and I walked away, I didn't even hear the ball hit the pin. You know how you can hear that sound when a ball hitting a pin, not pins. I didn't hear that, so I'm thinking maybe I just barely got it. And I was right when I looked back at the footage. All right, after another 9 spare, we get back on this left lane. And that's the one that I was looking for. But, you know, at this point in the night, I was kind of like over it, you know what I mean? I started feeling like that, like, dude, I kind of want to give up. I just want to go home. I'm really not happy with how I'm performing. I mean, the scores are still pretty good. I mean, I'm still en route to another 600 series. 211 in the first game, 207 in the second, and whatever's going to become of this third one. But, you know, I don't know. Clearly, like, after this night was over, I was thinking to myself, man, bad ball choices, and, you know, I just wasn't, you know, bad form, and mental game was kind of a disaster. I was just unhappy at the end of the night. Despite being unhappy, I tried my best to keep my head together to try to make these shots. But yeah, you see, like, I don't know if you guys could see the look on my face there. I just like, dude, I am just so done with this. And guys, I need to tell you this. Do not let your attitude or whatever you're feeling get in the way of your bowling, because then that kind of thing will happen. See, I was done. I was just done. I couldn't wait for this night to be over. I felt like I was en route to my lowest series of this entire campaign. My lowest series right now, I think, is 597 from week 1, and I felt like this was now going to be the new low. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, everybody has that one day where they bowl like complete garbage, and I felt like this was that one bad day for me. But at the same time, I was thinking, okay, I could still salvage this, but I have to strike out if I'm going to do that. All right, back on the left lane now. I think this is the 8th frame. After that miss, luckily I found myself back on track. But again, my feeling of unhappiness, of unsatisfaction was kind of taken over. All right, back on the right lane. Okay, so here we go on the 10th frame, needing to strike out, and yes, completely distracted, thanks to my what I consider to be a poor attitude on my part. I was completely distracted from the fact that I needed to strike out, not only to salvage this game and to at least put in a good series, but also to win Game 3 for my team. So I'm glad that I wasn't thinking about any of that. I'm glad that this poor attitude of mine, as weird as it may sound again, was distracting me from that, because it led to what is now 3 in a row. This also meant that I was en route to getting another 200 games, so I knew now that I passed 600 series. So here we go again, a little to the right too early, but again I had that misroom and that ball just rebounded back, and I saw that 9-pin. You can even see when I turned around, I'm like, Jesus Christ, how many more? Am I going to get lucky on the next one? Probably not, so I've got to, like, not do that again. I've got to, like, put the most amount of focus that I possibly can on this game, or on this shot, sorry. So I didn't focus in on anything, on the scores, what my teammates were saying. I blocked it all out and tried to put as much focus as I possibly could on trying to make a good shot here. And I did it. I got the win. I won us Game 3 with that, and I salvaged this game after that miss in what was, let's see, I think that was the 7th frame, that 9 spare miss. So I managed to bag up a 226, which means I get a 644 series, which technically is pretty good, despite the fact that I felt like I bowled like garbage. So it's nice to know that even when I'm not, mentally in a good place, when my form is bad, I can still do that. So, because let's be honest, it could have been way worse, but luckily it didn't come to that. So once again, go through yet another week where I continue the streak of 600 series. So, unfortunately, I do believe that this does not change my average whatsoever. And that kind of sucks. But then again, for not feeling too good about this night, I'm just glad that I was still able to pull off such a series. All right, with week number 11 behind us, we now take a look at the league summary numbers here. So for game one, I got 211. For game two, I got 207. And game three, the best one of them all, was that 226. So working our way down here, the series required to raise my average plus one was 651, and I didn't do that. I fell just short once again, just like last week. I only got 644. Last week's series total was 653, and that now with 644 added to my pin total, that brings it up to 7,088 after week 11, with the total number of games played being 33. So that brings my current average to 214.78, decreasing it just a pinch. That 0.78 that point 0.8 now becomes 0.78, so that kind of sucks, a slight decrease. And my highest game and series remain unchanged. So that is the league summary for week 11. Nothing crazy, nothing new. And that kind of sucks, but at least I know that's officially, I think now I can officially confirm 100% that that is where I stand when it comes to league. I am a 214 average bowler. So, but I think it's pretty cool that I can constantly nail 600 series for like a consecutive amount of weeks. It's pretty crazy. Like here on week two is when I started the streak of 600 series, and here we are on week 11, and I'm still doing it. So that's pretty awesome. But I hate that I keep telling myself, okay, this week is going to be the week. This week I'm going to do better, and I end up just doing the exact same. So uh, I don't even know. I've got to find a way to get myself out of that. So anyway, that does it for week 11. And looking at this paper here, actually, you're not going to believe this, guys. I looked at the lane assignments for next week, and we are going to be back on lanes 1 and 2 again. So I'm not. I'm a little less worried about it now because I remember I told you guys about lanes 1 and 2 being the hardest pair because of how quickly they can dry up. But after what my pro shop guy told me, that they, according to the numbers, lanes 1 and 2 is actually the highest scoring pair in the house. That actually made me feel a little bit better. Yeah, I intend to do some high scoring on that pair now that I know. And after knowing what happened after being on that pair a few weeks ago, I kind of learned some things. So I think I should be able to improve on lanes 1 and 2 next week. So yeah, that should be interesting. So. Anyway, that does it for week 11. I'm Frank the Tank. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I will see you guys on week number 12 on lanes 1 and 2.